Hi guys, welcome to me, Fisher Rob, once again, and the Novice Angler channel. Wow, been a while, eh? It's blooming COVID's got a lot to answer for. Well, I'm back with a bang because I'm going to give you today a huge pile of stuff, which I'm going to review for you bit by bit. So grab yourself a drink, come back, put your feet up, chill out with me as I run through a few things. Well, as I said, I'm going to be reviewing a pile of stuff today for you, and we're going to kick off straight away with the Fusion Feeder box. Now, this is a box by Guru that basically is going a storm on the riverbank at the moment. Everybody seems to be buying it. It's a little on the pricey side, in fairness, but it does have the ability to store a pile of stuff. It comes supplied with a couple of small inserts, shall we say, for say weights or your method feeders. There's a couple of long inserts. One is an oblong insert, again either method feeders, weights, whatever you want to put in there, selection of floats. There's a line, what you might say, a rig wallet type thing. It's a rig pallet, I suppose you could call it that. Loads of different fins, very similar to the Guru rig wallet, and you can literally have some of your prized rigs there set. I think we could easily hold about 20 or 30 rigs in there, and just stretch them over the pins that are supplied there as a little pallet. If you lift that out, because that lays on top of one of the inserts, if you lift that out, you can either have the oblong insert, as I say, underneath it, or you can have one of the inserts which is slightly curved, like half a barrel, and you could have, say, all your chotties in there, or your preset rigs in little circular reels. So loads and loads of space. There's two long grey slots as well, inserts. You've got a couple of mini inserts. I mean, the box itself is about 9 inches deep front to back, 14 inches wide and about 3 inches depth inside it, sort of thing, which equates, I think, if you're into your metric stuff, to about 23 by 35 by 7 and nearly 8, in fact, centimetres. So absolutely fine, beautiful little unit. It's got some very firm clasps on the front, made of good, durable, and a pretty watertight seal on it as well. And that's your Fusion Feeder box, and I'll have some links to all of these down the bottom, so you can go off to Amazon or to wherever I've set the links up for, and get an idea of exactly what I've been talking about, as of course I'm rattling through all these slides, which I should be putting up on here obviously as I go along. So do enjoy those, and gives you an idea of what I'm talking about as I go from article to article. Now, the second one is, they call it a commercial cage feeder. These come in mini, small, medium and large, 25 grams, 30 grams, both sides. So just have a look at the one that's best for you. They're forward weighted again, so when you're actually casting out with these, they can be very accurate indeed. So that's a nice touch. A lot of these feeders that I should be covering do now have all this forward weighting design into them. They've got a very strong, durable frame. I do like that there's a flexibility to it, but it's also pretty strong, so you won't have any problems with snarling up and bumps and lumps, etc. on the bottom of lakes or rivers and stuff. It can take a fair bit of punishment. It's got some good box size holes as well. They've got to be a good 2 or 3 mil wide or square, and so that certainly aids for rapid bait release. So either on the way down, if it's going down through a depth of water, obviously it's going to create a fabulous scent of bait going down as a sort of shower as it drops down towards the bottom, or of course if it's sitting in shallower water, it will help the bait to disperse nice and quickly, giving you a good area of bait plate, you might say, down at the bottom there. The stems of course are interchangeable, as are pretty much most of the feeders that I'm going to be chatting about here today. So you can have the elasticated ones on, you can have the inline ones on, you can have the X-safe ones on, so all manner of bits and bobs there. You've got the swivel top ones, you can have them almost like a pendulum as well. So excellent little feeder indeed, and that's the commercial cage feeder. And of course nowadays I think with Guru an awful lot of their feeders come in a sort of a camo colouring. It's I don't know, maybe we call it a pale green maybe, but when it gets into the river it blends in beautifully with the water, so very, very good indeed. So it sort of disappears and just presents your bait very nicely. The next one down is of course the gripper feeder. Now this has really gone a bomb on the bank, because especially on fast flowing rivers, on areas where there's trenches, say in lakes, there is one on my Sillen Lake where I go, and they are brilliant for that. They've got little teeth on the back, so it holds them very firm in fast flowing waters, or as I say, on the banks or the angles of, or slopes shall we say, of the trenches. The little studs there dig in nicely, and there's an actual reason for that as well, because the gripper feeder has, you might say, an anti-roll facility on it. They're actually designed with weight so that it always flips itself onto those teeth as it goes down, so it's nearly always presented absolutely brilliantly, and it sits there on those teeth at the back holding firm, and slowly breaks out all the bait and all the food that's inside. So it's excellent for those fast flowing waters. It's supplied with 2 stems, so again you can have it as an inline, or you can have it as a sort of an exchange or X-safe system, so that you can have the pendulum effect or you can have the inline effect. So that's great. There's 2 sizes there, which I think is, let me see, is it 1, 2, 3 and 4 ounces, and you've got large and medium, so they're the ones of the gripper. And again, as I always say, camo colouring is also here with this feeder as well. Moving on to the Super Pellet feeder, that's the X-safe range, 24 gram, 28 gram, again in the camo. You can actually have up to 4mm pellets in these as well, so nicely shaped for a very good release of bait, and creates a brilliant bait presentation down on the river or lakeside. As I say, forward weighted again, inline, or you can have the elastic there. Some fisheries are a little bit iffy about the elastic feeders, but you've got the option then. If they are, you just, that's okay, there you go, pop the stem out, pop another stem in, bang bang, job done, you're in line. So the Super Pellet feeders, fabulous shape, almost hybrid in fact, slightly raised walls, and very, very good indeed, as I say, for a very nice bait presentation. The inline pellet feeder is again 24 and 28 gram, 4mm pellet. Stems are interchangeable, camo. The inline pellet feeder you can actually set up very nicely with something like a size 11 rig, with a swivel there, and maybe a speed bead or something at the bottom. I've cut down helicopter rubbers, shall we say, and just trimmed those down, and then popped a swivel that goes inside that, so that then creates a nice soft bump for the method feeder to come down onto, or the pellet feeder in this case, and very, very nice presentation of your hook link around the actual pellet spread as it breaks down and spreads out on the river or lakeside bed. Again, I think the pellet feeders are forward weighted as well, so do have a look at those. The Guru hybrid feeder is another great feeder. You've got the walls that go around it, so because they're sort of cast as one piece, they're very, very strong, very difficult to break something like that. They've got slots in the side to help with the water flow getting into the hybrid design, and there's also holes on the back which helps water get in from the back of the feeder and push your bait out to create again another lovely bait set on the riverside or lake bed, etc. Quite often I'll use smaller pellets inside, and then some of my homemade baits over the top, squeeze it all in, cast it out, and because the pellets are inside, as the water gets to them, they expand and they actually help to push the rest of the bait out. So think about that sometimes when you're using these different types of feeders, the sort of baits that you can use with them. Although they're called pellet feeders, you can use all manner of things. I've used Scotch porridge oats, and bunged up with various things like garlic mayo or chili mayo. Squeeze it all together and then bung it into your pellet feeders or your method feeders. Absolutely brilliant for that. And again, they're forward weighted. They're compatible with the X-Safe system, so again you can swap all the stems around. They're usually a mini, small, medium and large. They range from 24 gram to 55 gram. So yeah, the Guru hybrid feeders are really something to have a look at. And again, as usual, camo colouring to blend it in brilliantly on the bottom of the lake or river. The multi-feeder, or the multi-maggot feeder, some people call it, is another good release from Guru. It's got an unusual forward weighting with this, but it does aid in the casting. The design of this, it's almost like what would you call it, a slightly out of shape oblong, I suppose, but it's got very strategically located holes. The end of the actual feeder on the multi-maggot feeder will pop up. You can pack whatever you want in there, caster, maggot, pellet, chopped worm, whatever you want. Squeeze that back down, shut that down. It's designed so that it gives an optimal bait release. Those holes are in just the right sort of position. They've tank tested this thing again and again, so to make sure that you get the best position for these holes and to optimize the release of your bait there, and not just relying down to the maggot having to wriggle out if it's live maggot you're using. Again, you've got micro studs on the back of this, similar to the gripper. I've got a little pic I'll put in a minute, which I hope Korma don't mind. I've nicked the back view of one of theirs, and then I've put little black markings on it in an old de-paint type thing program, just to give you an idea of how the teeth are laid out on the back of this particular feeder. But again, like the gripper feeder, it aids in how it can hold onto slopes and fast flowing rivers and things like that. So that covers a lot of the feeders. Elasticated stems, yeah, you can get different types of stems now. As I said, a lot of these stems are interchangeable with these feeders. A most common one with the elastic stem is two colours, they're white and black. White would be probably more for your skimmers and your standard breams, your light breams. Your black for the larger things like carp, larger bream, barbel, etc. So you can actually get the stems that you're interested in for the type of fish you're going for, and swap those stems around with any of these feeders, so that you have the best chance with whatever feeder you're using. So that's a bit about all the different feeders that are out there at the moment. And I did actually mention speed beads as well. And going on to speed beads, you get 6 in a pack. It's a rubberized outer shell, and it actually comes supplied with a quick change swivel, so you can put the line through the top of the speed bead rubber, out through the bottom, maybe a grinner knot onto the swivel, and then when you pull it all back, you can have your method feeder slide down onto the top of that little speed bead, and with your loop of your hook length, you can just click it in and then unclick it again, so you can change hook lengths really quickly, and it maximizes your time, especially if you're match fishing. You can literally just jump one on, jump one off, job done. So very quick indeed. Yeah, some of the line stops, the Guru line stops, have started to become more popular again. This is more from, let me say, supposing you're casting out and it goes down onto the lake bed, and it's the way the line has laid and the way the weight has gone, it creates a bubble. Let's just say you've got an up and over arch. Now the line stops are brilliant for stopping that. If you want to keep your hook link absolutely straight on the bottom of your lake bed or river, then you can use these line stops that Guru provide. Just slide them onto your line, slide them along wherever you want. They grip the line, but they do slide pretty easily to a position that you're happy with. And then when you cast that out, that extra little bit of lead in specific locations, brilliant for bringing that line down completely. So especially with me when I go carp fishing, you don't want the carp coming along and with its chunky old tummy brush part of the line, get spooked and take off. This keeps it down and out the way, and again it aids your bait presentation, so certainly helps you to get those elusive carp that are very, very jumpy. What's the other term they use for it? Skittish, isn't it? Very skittish. Now, Guru MicroLead Clips. This is another thing. The swivels and tail rubbers come with these clips. You can get them, I think, 10 in a pack. I think, again, camo. Some of them are a little darker. You can get packs with them a little bit more weedy green. But you can get some which are just generally the light camo, similar to the feeders. And again, there's a lot of fisheries now are saying that we must dump our weights. If the fish breaks the line, it's got to be able to dump the weight. And I totally agree with that. I mean, if it doesn't, then you're talking a fish maybe snagging itself somewhere because it's carrying around a couple of ounce weight, and that's it. It starves. It cannot move around very well, so it can't get the water flow over the gills to extract the oxygen. So the fish actually could drown as well. So it sounds daft when you say fish drowning, but no, it's possible. So these clips, inline clip systems, are very, very good indeed. I'm crafty. I use inline weights a lot, and I've created my own system of using those inline weights. I must put that up on a video for you guys sometimes. You can have a look and show you how I make it, so that if they do break the line, then my weights will literally just slide down the line and drop off. If you're worried about, oh well, they'll take the bait, lift the bait up, but you know the line then just flows through the weight that's on the bottom, how do you get the snag on the fish? Well, again, we go back to line stops. They're brilliant for that. They can act as a brake on the line, and then your weight will hit that. It will cause the jerk on the line, start the hook in, and but the same thing again goes. If the line breaks, then my weight will slide up to that line stop, and then they can just pull it off. If they do snag it anywhere, it will just slide off the line. So, but something to think about though with those MicroLead clips and weight clip systems. Do have a look at those and think about popping those on your next fishing session on your line. The Guru scissors, absolutely brilliant. They're a positive scissor. They've got great thumb rings, as I call them, because I've got quite chunky fingers. It's no good having some of these little fishing scissors, and they're so diddy. You know, you've got a job to get your thumb in the hole, on your fingers. And so the Guru scissor, good, nice size rings for that. Absolutely razor sharp. They're brilliant. Stainless steel. They're in typical Guru colours. And they're very, very good. They'll cut through braid, monofilament, like it's not even there. Done, job. So think of the Guru scissors as well. Absolutely brilliant little investment for your bait or tackle box. Next on my list is a bait punch set. Now, if you're like me, you like to go out there with a good selection of baits. Another bait for you, obviously luncheon meat. Watch for your fisheries again. A lot of them are cutting down on this because it's an oily meat. They don't want too much in the water because it takes a long time to break down. So fishery rules and regs now can be in the bracket of 1 tin per fisherman. So you're only allowed to have the 1 tin with you, but the bait punch set are brilliant for that. Bread, another one. Paste, brilliant for that as well. And the punch set comes in, I think, 6, 8, 10 and 12 mil punches. They're made of stainless steel. They're viciously sharp as well, so don't go trying to punch your foot, punch your finger. They're viciously sharp as well, so don't go trying to punch your finger underneath them, because nasty old cut will come there very quickly. They are very, very sharp indeed. But the thing I think more about the bait punch set, whereas the old punch sets, they used to literally just cut the cylindrical bait thing and that was it. It wasn't a neat cut for a start. Well, these Guru ones are, because they're so sharp. A beautiful, neat, cylindrical cut piece, straight out, no ragged edges and stuff like that. So again, even something as silly as, you might say, a bait punch, but it aids bait release. So as that is, you know, on the hook and stuff like that, it flies through the air, helps the casting, all those sort of things. Absolutely brilliant. So not being ragged and horrible, it's not just going to fall apart at the first interest of a fish. You know, what can you say about just a nice, neat little bait punch set? And you can pick that up from Guru as well. One of the big things that I've seen recently, and I've got the Reaper rod rest, and if you look back over my videos you'll see me doing a little promo about the Reaper rests, but they've brought out an extra large rod rest. This thing's 50 centimeters long, huge thing, about 19.5 inches I think, roughly, an equivalent. It comes with, again, its own long life thread underneath, so it's universal. It will go to any of your big bank sticks. It's got fabulous what I call a bunny ear or one end, so if you're doing a lot of shall we say quiver tip fishing and things like that, it's a nice wide rest for that, so you can have a couple or two or even 3 rods all on the same rod rest. And any movement from the quiver tips, boom, you'll know it. Very, very firm, lovely, durable thing. Oh yes, it's also got a little rubberized ring as well at the top of the thread, so when you screwed it onto your bank stick and you've got it all plugged in, that rubberized ring at the top, O-ring, holds it firm. It's not going to work itself loose with action. It's not going to be one of these things. In days gone by, I used to have rod rests that screwed on. It was a pig to get them off at the end of the day. Beautiful, lovely little O-ring. Allows quick connection, firm connection, and quick release as well. You literally just give it a little twist and it's off, or unwinding, and away you go. And the extra large rod rest there from Guru, absolutely brilliant. And the actual rest itself, the tubular part you might say, is of a nice soft gripper rubber, so very nice indeed. And an excellent addition again for your tackle box. Now, one of the big ones I'm going to go in here, I've rattled through some of the others, but one of the things I want to cover with you is the Guru Brolly. This is the large Guru Brolly. It's a massive 2.2 meter cover or footprint. This thing not just covers you and keeps you dry, but a good amount of your bait and gear around you is all covered by this brolly. Fabulous brolly. It's got an internal threaded core spike, you might say, and that is where you open the brolly up with. But let's just say you want the brolly at an angle. Instead of days gone by, again, you used to have those funny little, I don't know, neck things. You used to pull a slider up, then angle the brolly over, and oh, it was a fiddly thing. Was up off the ground. You couldn't really secure it very well. Well, Guru have completely revamped this idea. What a brilliant brolly. Guys, get it. It's fabulous. I even actually take this now more than my bivvy. Let's put it that way when I go fishing. The neck itself is solid. So you have the internal threaded post. You open your brolly up. You lay it at an angle onto the ground. You unscrew the central pipe, if you like. And there's a purpose-built threaded hole on one side of the upper shaft. You can screw the main shaft back into that, so it gives a purpose angle to the brolly and the main central pipe. You can bring that pipe then down onto the base spike that goes into the ground and adjust the grommet to tighten that down. Now also it comes supplied with 4 almost like tent pegs, big old pegs. They're also screwed, so you've got them, you can twist them into particularly hard ground. and there are D-rings at the bottom of one side of the brolly, so you can push them through those D-rings. So if you've got any worries about wind getting up underneath the brolly and being lifted up, no, we can cure that, because you've got these fabulous pegs that go into these D-rings. And it also, another add-on, it comes supplied with guy lines, 2 guy lines, the lovely bright orangey Guru colours. Up the top on the outside of the brolly, there's a little hole that goes through the centre pin where all the splines come together inside the brolly, and on the outside you just feed your line through that down to your 2 other tent pegs that you've put them down in the ground around, and then just, you know, make a little loop knot, use a slide adjuster, so your brolly is absolutely anchored. You've got your 2 main pegs in the D-rings, and then you've got 2 other pegs in different locations so that you can tie the guy lines to it. That brolly's going nowhere. Absolutely fabulous. Gives you, as I say, 2.2 metre footprint, which I'm gonna have a look through my notes here for a minute. Hold on a sec. 86 inches. Yeah, got to be in the region of that. To actually give you that sort of footprint, that coverage. So brilliant against high winds and rain and goodness knows what else. Fully waterproof. I believe it's a 210D, I think they call it, Deluxe Waterproof covering. So water globules, if you want, will just bubble up and then run off it. So very nice indeed for that. The poles themselves inside, my memory serves me right, they're 1.5mm thickness, so they're fiberglass, I think. So the actual poles themselves are very rigid. There's no worries about it bending or anything like that. The splines inside, we might call the spider web inside, those poles are about got to be 8mm. Yeah, got to be about 8mm in diameter. So, and again, I think they're carbon fibre. So again, very strong. The brolly isn't going to turn inside out, you know. So an awesome piece of kit. Really nice piece of kit. And I just have to come back to that side screwable pole. I think it's, what a move forward, what an innovation. So many of these old blooming brollies that we've had in the past are weak there, and over time, of course, that hinge can break and so forth, but not with the Guru brolly. Brilliant piece of kit. And of course, on the outside, it's got the typical Guru logo, knowledge is power, and really does look the part on the riverbank. So one to definitely add to all your gear. You can be a tackle tart, I believe they call it. Why not be a tackle tart? Go buy yourself a fabulous Guru brolly. And of course, it comes in its own bag, and it's got a reinforced base to the bag and a drawstring top with the Guru logo emblazoned on the side of that. So you put that down alongside you where you're setting up. You watch the attention it gets. They're all thinking, wow, he's got the new Guru brolly. Yeah, you have fabulous stuff. And finally, I think to wrap up, what I'm going to do a quick review on the 11-foot N-gauge feeder rod. Now, this is something I picked up recently and I used at Ceylon Lake over here in southwest Wales. It's a very nice rod. It's one of a set of 6. There's power feeders and 9-foots and 12-foots and all manner of different lengths, but this one's the 11-foot that I've got. It comes supplied with 3 tips, sensitive tips, which I think are 1, 1.5 and 2 ounce. You can get more from your local fish stockists, or have a word with Corda and Guru, because of course Guru is a sister company to Corda, and I'm sure you can get some more for the N-gauge rod should you snap any by chance. But touch wood, all around me, I haven't yet. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's a very flexible rod. You might say the tension goes up the more the fish pulls, the more it will just pull back. It's I know you're winding in, but the rod bends over like one of the old Avon rods. They're very flexible, and this rod will bend over very similar to that, but will then pull back very nicely indeed. So if the fish goes deep, the more it tugs, the more grunt you might say there is at the lower sections of your rod, so it will just pull it back up again. Fabulous rod. The butt is part cork and part Duplo. It's got a fabulous, I suppose I'll call it a chamfered arm rest. It's sculpted so that when you're actually holding the rod and you're in a position to reel in, the part of the Duplo which is against your forearm is shaped to mould to your forearm, so it's not sitting on a round spongy bit, it's actually shaped so your arm sits very, very nicely on the butt of the rod when you're reeling in, so you've really got serious grip and serious comfort there on the bottom. It comes obviously the typical Guru markings, all the logos, beautiful, looks almost gold at the bottom end of the rod, but it is the orangey Guru logo, so very, very nice indeed. When you've got this in action, you'll see either back at the beginning of the video or I'll put it in towards the end, whichever way it is, but you'll see how that arm sits so beautifully when I'm fighting the fish there on a couple of my catches when I was over at Ceylon. So very, very nice, keeps you very positively connected to the fish by having that sculpted Duplo base. As I say, the 11 footer that I've got has got a 60 gram casting weight on it, so that will cover most of the feeders that you're going to be throwing out there on the 11 footer. The 12 footer power feeder, wow, you can imagine what you can throw with that thing, well over 100 yards as well, you know, beautiful rod, the 12 footer power. But my 11 footer I've been very, very impressed with. The rings themselves lean forward slightly, so it decreases any drag on the line, it helps casting. It also, if my memory serves right, has a ceramic lining to the rings, but double check that, but I think that's what I read up about it as well, and that also aids with minimizing any wear on your line, so you've got brilliant casting, hardly any wear on your line at all from the rings, the very, very active tips, so even the softest bite, bang, that tip is going to show you that you've got something on and immediately you can be in there. So that's the 11 foot N gauge feeder rod, and with all this tech behind it, how it molds to your forearm, the way the reel fits onto the rod, you sort of screw down the foam on the top of the reel rather than most of the time you push your reel in and then slide something up underneath it and then tighten it up. This is top down, so it locks it into the butt of the rod. Yeah, fabulous piece. Again, picked mine up I think for about 135 from a local stockist. Yeah, you know the one, the old angling corner that I go to regularly over here in Llanelli over in southwest Wales. So with that, thanks for joining me. I'm back with a bang. I did loads of little bits there for you, and we look forward to seeing you again here on The Novice Angler. See you again. Stay safe.